what's up? We're back. Is it a 95X live? Is it a 315 is a live? It's both. It's Dixon, joined today by the frontman of Career Mode, my old friend. You know him, you love him. It's Justin Parker from Career Mode. What's shaking, my friend?
Whoa, we're shaking and baking. It is a wonderful day in Utica, New York. Very excited about the upcoming 315 day. Dixon, always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Bro, I'm stoked to have you. I'm stoked to have Career Mode. I've heard nothing but amazing things. I've seen so many great videos. The tagline of basically being the soundtrack to every Tony Hawk game you've ever played is the best tagline in the history of Syracuse bands, in my opinion. So I'm pretty stoked on that. But again, it's 315 day, parade day. You're going to the parade anyway, right? So why not stop by before if we're having a party? Little kegs and eggs without the eggs. Live music from Ashley Cox, live music from John London, Clove, and our good friend Jeremy Nelson. Right. Then you go to the parade, you do what you do at the parade, and then you're walking back to your car and you parked over by National Grid. Why not just come and extend the party? Because we're going to be at Middle Ages Beer Hall all day, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we're throwing the biggest after parade party in Central New York. We've got a loaded lineup on stage, which is sponsored by Renee Neff State Farm Agency in Liverpool. The entire event is brought to you by Home Team Pub. It's going to be a blast. Career Mode, your headliner. They're going to bring it home and send you home happy just in time for dinner. Parade day. Also on the bill in the afternoon, Isaac French, Zach G, Sydney Irving, a who's who of the young talent in Central New York. I'm so excited that we finally get to connect in Cross 95X in Career Mode over because I think it's a great fit. And I'm so excited to see some young blood taking a big stage like this in the Syracuse. I know you guys are stoked to play the gig.
Oh, of course, of course. It's always a pleasure to come to Syracuse because those crowds are just different. You know, they're engaged in a way that is it's something I've noticed in years of playing shows, going to shows, all of the above. You know, this isn't the first time you and I have crossed paths, but it is the first time that we have mixed career mode in 95X. And like you said, it's an absolutely perfect fit. And at the top, as you mentioned, you know, we are the Tony Hawk Pro Skater tribute that you've always wanted, but you know, it's extended so much more than that because the band's been around for several years at this point, and we're always trying to do new things, take risks, but also, as you said, send the people home happy. We're going to play the stuff you know, and we're going to bring it with an energy that is, I can confidently say, unlike anything else you've seen. I don't love to talk about myself. Sounds crazy as a musician. Hyping myself up, it's not my strong suit. I leave that to the professionals like you, Scott. But I'm really good at hyping up my friends. And I'm so fortunate to play with five of my best friends in career mode. They're all dynamite musicians who take their job of entertaining you very seriously, much like myself.
Absolutely. And it's a who's who of musicians. You will most certainly recognize a lot of names in there that would definitely ring a bell. And I love you guys are taking on something that most bands would be fearful of, which is, stuff that it is mainstream to us who grew up with it, but not necessarily mainstream straight down the middle. And it's also dope that it is not dubbed emo, which is my least favorite old word that's come back in the last 5 years. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, having lived through it and kind of experienced it firsthand in so many ways, especially in Syracuse in the late 90s and early 2000s. A lot of things that get classified under that emo category are not emo, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's sort of expanded. We just kind of take on the connotation. Hey, did Hot Topic sell your T-shirt in 2002? Emo,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate that. So you guys have a fresh approach to what has been something that is kind of beaten into the ground locally over the last couple of years. So, and the fact that you're doing it as a live band is thrilling to me. So again, you guys will take the stage right around 5 p.m. Saturday the 15th, Middle Ages Beer Hall. It's the Middle Ages Brewery as well. Take a beer tour. They're gonna give tours that day as well, so you can check out the pub downstairs and how Middle Ages works. I know that they're going to be celebrating an anniversary coming up in August as well. So it's a big year for middle ages as well. We're happy to forge this relationship with them and with Home Team Pub, who sponsors 315 Day March 15th. Now, that business is out of the way. I also kind of want to just throw back for a quick minute and remind everybody that Justin also, for a couple of years, was releasing stuff under his name that he would play on locals only, and has found his way back with Our Common Roots, which is a band from the Utica Rome area that gets a lot of love on locals only, and I know is also kind of bringing themselves back to Syracuse again. You and I had talked about you guys coming back to Syracuse. Is there a date or a show that's booked that we can plug to get people out to see Our Common Roots as well?
You would think that I would be ready for you to throw me the curveball questions by now. You know, this isn't our first dance whatsoever, but yeah, that's wonderful that you mentioned that. Thank you so much. Our Common Roots, yeah. I mean, the band that is my baby, my labor of love. I was with the band, I wasn't with the band, I'm back with the band. I'm playing drums in that band. It's a huge dynamic shift from being a singer-songwriter and from being a singer frontman of a punk tribute band. But that just speaks to, you know, people's musical taste and being eclectic. You know, nobody likes just one thing, and I like the variety of indulging in different instruments because that's just one of my favorite aspects of being a musician. But yeah, we have a kind of semi-regular gig at Al's Wine and Whiskey in Syracuse, and that's super cool because we've always wanted to get back to Syracuse in the format that fits us best. I feel like that's such a hard thing to do as a musician is to find the venues that work for you and for your audience and maximize the gig for everybody involved because good business is good for everybody. Let me check my calendar. This is very unprofessional. I'm very sorry. But April 17th, it's a Thursday. We're going to be there from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Being 34, uh, typically I'll be in bed at 10 p.m. But when I gotta stay up and play a show at a whiskey bar, which is like the top-notch place, by the way. Like we've only played there once before, and it was so much fun. We could not wait to come back, and we're so thankful for Charlie Orlando. Shout out to him for hitting us up about that. So yeah, that's super exciting. We are always very appreciative of Signal Syracuse and 95X of the support that you've shown us over the years, playing our songs like I'm blanking on them because we're working on new stuff. We're getting in the studio this year, so that's cool. We're hopefully gonna release some singles, or at least I'd love to do a full length. You know, we'll see what happens. But I want to reshift the focus on being an original band again, and we've been doing some exciting things over the last few years. It's really cool. That's what I'm all about in 2025 is new and exciting opportunities. Just finding and 315 day. I mean, that is part. It's perfect. It's lamb and tuna fish. They go together perfectly. Uh, it's not, as I said in my Instagram video, it's not just a geolocation issue. We don't just say 315 because we want you to know where we're from. We very much rep it, uh, and have since day one because we're very proud of this place. And part of that is the talent that you're surrounded with. You know, Sydney Irving, I've seen her play all over for years. She's a crazy hustler. Zach G, I've heard a lot about from people in the career mode sphere. So I'm excited about that to make that connection for the first time. And Isaac French, I've been dying to work with forever. Seems like the nicest dude. His tunes are great, and it's such an eclectic mix, which is par for the course for Scott Dixon. He is not afraid to mix and mingle musical genres because he understands that audiences are not one dimensional. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna
Well,
be
think about it this way, man. How many how many people do you genuinely think just make playlists on Spotify or Apple Music that are just like all one specific, right? Like I think about my listening habits and I jump around from right like things like my old school favorite stuff like Norma Jean and Clutch into like Wild Baby No Money and Y2K modern bedroom hip hop pop and I'm obsessed with Electric Callboy, right? Like it kind of goes all over the place. So for me, it's just like you could go to a show and spend 5 hours in a venue and just watch four variations of the exact same thing, or I could show you that there is a lot of talent right here in your own backyard that might excite you if you just gave it a chance, right? And again, while I think that this is a very diverse bill, I think there's direct lines that can be drawn to connect all four of them, right? Like Cindy Irving's a singer-songwriter. At the end of the day, that's Isaac French's deal as well, although he uses a loop pedal, but using a loop pedal kind of leans into the world of hip hop, where Zach G exists alongside some R&B. And at the root of all of this, it's rock music, which was then taken by the punks and turned into something new and exciting. And we land with career mode.
Yeah, which at the end of the day, I think about some of the songs on the set list. You know, when you think about like Ocean Avenue is a great example from Yellow Card. Like at the time, it was alternative and it was punk, and now it's something that you would hear on Light 98.7. And that's not throwing any shade. That's just how sensibilities change. You know, when Green Day hit the scene years ago, that everybody was they were shocked. They were shocked to see the crossover into the mainstream, but it's also it's telling of what the audience is thirsty for. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned how Isaac uses his pedal because I've noticed that. Like his stuff is very well produced. Like he puts a lot of work into making a very full sound just by himself. And I think that's part of why he is so successful in taking his setup everywhere that he can go. That and he's a hard worker. Like he wants to be out there gigging and he's constantly got more dates than you can shake a stick at. Same thing with Sydney. Like that's always, and I'm always thirsty for more hip hop because I don't feel like I get enough of it. There's not enough hip hop shows that I'm going to because my time is so limited. That's always the double-edged sword of being a musician is sometimes the only times you get to see shows is the shows that you're working on because your other time is dedicated to stuff and then have a kid, you know, be in two bands, be a puppeteer, have a job also. I do have a job that I want to remind people I have a job. But one of my jobs is being in career mode and playing those songs. And it's just a joy, man. Like it's one of those things where like I definitely get my fill of being an original musician elsewhere, and I can see the value that it brings to playing a cover project that people really just react to. And I think that a big part of it is that like we try to just translate a basement show energy because we are all at the end of the day punk kids, hardcore kids who, you know, Syracuse hardcore, Sean Mott. I mean, Ghost Ship. Need I say more? Dude's been around for a long time. You know, we Rob and Sean. They were both in Eyes of the Coliseum, and they're till the end of time. Sal Piazza, drummer's out of his mind. Best drummer I've ever gotten to work with. Sal was the type of guy that I would see him play. He was in Priapism at one point, I know that, but like I'd see him playing. I'm like, man, I'd love to play in a band with a guy like that one day. And here I am. You know, it's wild. Brian Lucenti from Our Common Roots and the other vocalist in career mode. It's a dynamite time, but we're like the common theme is just fun we just love to have fun. We take it seriously because we want to do these songs as good as we possibly can and leave you satisfied. But we also want you to recognize that this is a party and this is every career mode show is a party. That's why we don't do a ton of them because we want them to be special. And I think that that's worth kind of underscoring because you can lose that luster over time if you're just, and it's no shade to anybody. I'll never put down working musicians, but it can lose its luster over time if you take it from place to place and you're just kind of making it your gig, you know? And part of that is just like I said earlier, it's just taking risks. Like, yes, we will play the Hawthorne Heights and the you know, MCRs and the A Day to Remembers of the world, but we're known to pull out an Avenged Sevenfold song sometimes. We'll pull out Linkin Park. We'll pull out, you know, Dashboard Confessional. Just all of the things that kind of, like you said, everybody's definition of emo is different. And that's none more present than when we all get together and pitch ideas. But yeah, it's the fun. It's just selling the fun. We want people to know that you're going to have a good time. This is not going to be, it's an atypical cover band experience. That's why we lead with the fact that we're career mode, not that we're a tribute of any kind.
Well, the other thing I would like to, as you mentioned, underline is that this is free, right? Like
Free.
it's free. There's no admission all day long. You can come and enjoy all this entertainment, all of this content we're bringing you, and there's also going to be a whole bunch of cool stuff like on premise. So like we know it's parade day. We know that you're going to hang out for the day. So we're bringing Home Team Pub's food truck out along with Toss and Fire, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn to feed you well throughout the day. Sweet on Chocolate will be there. Earthquake Spices, Raven Huff Acres, Saving Face Barbershop going to be on premise. Black Whisker Vintage and Ted Original Designs all going to be there. Different artists, different things that are all sourced here in Central New York. Quick shout out to Earthquake Spices because they make some of my favorite stuff that you can buy, and they're right here in our own backyard.
I need some of that. I'm always looking for that's one thing I love about events too is like you never know what you're gonna get when you walk in the door. And I love especially like spices, dude, it's the perfect purchase for a thing like that.
Yeah, and they got hot sauces, they got spice rubs, they got all kinds of stuff. And it just kind of shows off just how incredibly talented the entire community is. And this is just our first of many. This is going to be an annual event. So I'm looking forward to kicking it off with career mode for free, taking the stage 5 p.m. Grade day, March 15th, Middle Ages Beer Hall, presented by Home Team Pub. Shout out Renee Neff State Farm Agency in Liverpool for being our main stage sponsor. Justin, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I will see you next Saturday. I'm going to get my dancing shoes on.
Always a pleasure. You know I'm gonna hold you to that because I will be out front and center, making a fool of myself in the most glorious way possible. 315 day, Middle Ages Beer Hall, 95X, Home Team Pub. It's gonna be dynamite. I can't wait, Scott. I'm looking forward to it.
See you
Thank
there,
you, brother.
brother.